everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Tammeraut's Fate, Part 6. Who's Tammeraut? I don't fucking know. We'll get there eventually. Today is February 6th, 2020, and you are loved. And that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our listeners and viewers at the beginning of each and every single one of our sessions. If this is your first time hearing that message from us specifically, consider going to youtube.com/indooradventures, where you can catch up on all of our VODs. We upload each and every single one of our games there, so consider going to check that out. We also upload all of our audiocasts wherever audiocasts are available for free. So sorry, Podbean. Other ways, if you would like to help support the show, we have, obviously, you can subscribe to us on Twitch using a free subscription if you have Amazon Prime with Twitch Prime, which is super neat. Or you can go to patreon.com/indooradventures and gain access to our after show called Nights in the Courtyard. Since yesterday, Zoom, Adobe, Pretzel, all of our monthly services are now being paid for by all of you patrons out there. So I would like to take a special moment to say thank you. Thank you guys for helping. It really does lift a pretty awesome burden off of my shoulders to know that it's all because of you and that we're doing a good job enough that you want to help support the show. Also, if you are continuing to support the show already on Patreon, already with Twitch, consider going to indooradventure.redbubble.com and pick yourself up some nice merch. We got mugs, we got pants, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we even have shower curtains. We have all sorts of stuff that you can pick up at indooradventure.redbubble.com. The URL was too long for us to have the S in there, so it is just indooradventure.redbubble.com. Is a good time. So, as you probably already have seen, our dear friend Reeves is currently not with us this evening. Hopefully they will be able to join us shortly, but due to public transit delays, they might be a while. So hopefully they will join us soon. But until then, hey Dingo, who are you playing tonight?
I'm Dingo, she, her, and I am playing Hish Sungard, the half-orc fighter. He, him.
Hi, I'm Cyber, he, him. I play Albus, the Simic hybrid sorcerer, he, him.
Howdy everyone, I'm KyleWithAnN. Tonight I'm playing Jilfa'en Lyrandar, the half-elf cleric. We both use she, her.
And I am the indoor adventurer, he, him, and tonight I shall be your dungeon master. So, last we left off, there was a little bit of a discrepancy about whether or not, and also for how long, you should stay in the sleepy fishing village of Lethlung, Albus's hometown. Hish, due to some wonderful crab cakes, you had a slight change of mind about whether or not you should stay, but then realized that there was a little bit of mind altering going on, and as soon as you found that out, the lot of you made your way back to the ship and decided, okay, we can't stay here. This is a bad time. However, Albus, being the very honest, upfront monster catfish that he is, decided that he would allow all of you to see his innermost sanctum, the small underground grotto where Albus had been found several years prior. After experiencing this underground grotto, Albus, you rewarded all of your friends with wonderful presents and glorious gifts. Hish, you ended up getting a non-Euclidean geometric thing that would hopefully protect your ship from any kind of outside influence. Jill, you were given a piece of wonderful gemmy that Albus, given the correct circumstances, it could act as a arcane focus, and Ulman was given a pot that would perfectly salt all of his food, because we are for sure that friend that gave our one friend we heard liked cooking all of the cooking utensils this Christmas. So, now that you have been at sea for several days, once again, heading south to the village of Erskine, you ended up seeing that there was a large storm front coming your way. And as you decided that you couldn't exactly avoid this storm front, you decided to weigh anchor and wait for the storm to pass. As your ship was sitting, waiting for said storm to pass, you started to see what looked like a large bird made of pure electricity flashing between clouds as it seemed to be approaching at a very alarming rate. It was at that point that you ended up also hearing thunder booming from the sky, and you saw twin god's eyes open that revealed a sea of deep sea foam green, which, Jill, you know deep in your heart to be the color of Umberlee. Ulman, at this point, also received a rather frightening PM personal message from Umberlee that said, "I gave you a choice, and you threw that choice as an empty message into the sea." And that is where we ended last week's session, as this storm begins to brew on the open ocean. Now, because Reeves is not here, I have asked what they would like for Ulman to do in this situation, to which the response was, Ulman is actually going to go out onto the main deck, and he begins yelling up towards the sky, "All right, you and I are gonna have a conversation about this!" And they jump off the side of the ship into the sea.
God.
Stop it!
That is what Reeves wished for the boy. I am just the messenger here. And as such, Ulman has jumped into the open ocean, and you see their form just swimming down deeper into the water.
So cool.
Super solid. Great choice.
Yep.
Awesome
Yep.
plan all around. The rest of you, who here was on the deck of the ship to witness this?
Yeah.
I think we all were.
Okay. Sounds good. So you are all on the deck of the ship. You have heard Ulman yell this, and without waiting to confer with the rest of you, Ulman has just jumped overboard and is seeming to try his best to get into contact with the she-bitch herself, Umberlee. Now, the rest of you, you know that there is still a little bit of time left until this large creature that is making its way towards you arrives. What are you doing to prepare?
Getting my son below deck.
I think Jill runs to the side of the ship and she's just screams out, "No! No, he's going to drown! No!" And is just freaking out.
Okay, sounds good. And Albus, are you doing anything?
Thinking
anything?
nasty thoughts.
Okay, sounds good. So, as Hish, you managed to take Ollie beneath the deck of the ship, and just sort of tell him to stay in the hull. It is
With
going to
Bims.
be safer for him in the hull, and he with Bims, and he is just sort of like holding on to Bims like a child and a puppy at this point. They don't understand what's going on, but very rarely do you get stern with Ollie about much of anything. He knows that if anything, you are the soft parent who will allow him to have pudding for breakfast. So when you get into this mindset of you need to be here, you need to stay, Ollie listens to you. He listens to you very, very closely. and promises that he will not go above deck for this following encounter. So, Jill, you are standing at the edge of the ship, looking out as you have watched Ulman and his, as he would like to remind us in chat, his 10-gallon hat of underwater breathing jump overboard. There is a loud crackling sound as this creature appears directly above the ship. And it looks like a massive avian creature. It looks like a bird of sorts. But this bird, again, is made of just crackling electricity that is almost red in color.
Question. Would I know if this creature is, say, native to this plane?
I would say make an Arcana check.
Well, it was nice while it lasted. 8.
You are fairly certain that this creature is from somewhere else. That it doesn't. There's no way that this creature would exist here on the material plane.
Okay. How far is it away?
At this point, it is roughly about 80 feet above the ship.
About 80 feet above the ship?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if it gets within 60.
Okay. So this creature is going to... it looks like with each... after it flaps its wings several times, it actually stretches out, and it is going to try and almost bolt itself like a streak of lightning through the night sky. But before we get into all of this, let's roll some initiative.
Woohoo!
I love this. Would love to have a Pokeball. Put this Zapdos to bed.
You and I have very different experiences with Zapdos.
That's an 11 for Hish.
10 for Albus.
Wanny.
Okay. And Jill got a 20. This creature got a 25 for... it seems like being made of lightning gives it very quick reflexes. Who would have thought? But it is going to actually try and blast itself through the main sail of your vessel. It will be getting within 60 feet. So, Albus, did you have a prepared action?
It would have been a spell, and I wasn't ready to burn that spell slot,
Okay.
So
Sounds
no.
good. All right, so it is going to then go through... it's going to try and attack your mast to see about possibly just making you immobile as best it can. It rolls a 27 to hit. And with a loud blasting motion, you see that there are splinters and shards of wood that are just raining down from the topmast as one of the main bows that keeps the sails up is actually beginning to bend and break and fall down, turning your large square-style mast into more of a lopsided triangle. And then after it has passed through, it then begins to circle around like it is going to get ready for a secondary pass at your vessel. Next up is Jill. What would you like to do?
How big is this, like, I guess, like, hole it blasted through?
So it looks like... it looks about the hole itself is about the size of a small horse. It's about 8 feet around.
Okay, that's more than I can mend, so... Whoops. We'll put that one on the back burner. Okay, so this thing is still up in the air, isn't it?
It is.
How far away is it?
At this point, I would say it is about 40 feet away from the edge of the ship. So within most spell distances.
Yeah, I don't think Jill's particularly thinking. I think she just like fires off like just a guiding bolt, just this red angry energy. She's pissed off.
Okay, make an attack roll.
What level do I want to cast that at? We'll do second level. 15.
A 15 does not hit. As you said, Jill is not thinking straight, and it's just this bolt of angry energy that is released from the palm of your hand. And it seems to just narrowly miss this flying creature made of electricity. So, then next up, Hish. Hish, you've heard a loud cracking sound coming from above, followed by the sounds of your crewmen. And you can hear that they are yelling about something having happened to the mast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he gives Ollie a kiss on the head, and then I think he's gonna run up to the deck. If I look at the damage just at first glance, do I think there's anything I can do about it?
Not immediately.
Okay, then I don't have any ranged attacks, so I guess I'm going to use Know Your Enemy. And I'm going to spend a minute looking at this bird.
Right. Because you are in combat, I would like to remind you that 1 minute in combat is 10 rounds.
Jesus, I forgot. Never mind.
Do you have any hand axes? Anything you could throw?
I have 0 throwing
Okay.
anything.
Hish, I would like for you to make a history check.
Okay. Well, it's a 10.
With a 10, as you're trying to think of a way to attack this creature, you are reminded of Acquisitions Incorporated. It is not the greatest reminder, but seeing this creature's red coloration against the sky reminds you of the skyfaring vessel that had once appeared in Saltmarsh. And one of the things that you recall was that they had made an upgrade to your vessel back when you were still employees.
I forgot. It's a ballista, right? Or something like that?
It is a ballista that shoots a fireball.
Fuck yeah. Okay, great. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, then I'm gonna book it to the ballista. Do I have time to make an attack?
I would say that would count for your action to fire this fireball. And you only get it once on a long recharge, as it actually draws in a lot of external energy to power it. But y'all have never used this cannon before, so you will be able to at least aim it as best you can to get near it. Thankfully, it explodes, so you don't have to be very precise with the actual cannon for it. So this creature gets a 19 on its dex save. Your cannon has a DC, I believe, 16 dex save required. So roll 8d6 and it will be taking half.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and keep moving, and I'll tell you that damage in a second.
Albus.
It is within 60 feet.
It is.
I need an intelligence saving throw, please.
Okay. Wow, this bird dumb. Modified 1.
Oh my god.
Something worked!
Oh my god. I hit something with a cantrip, guys. It's going to be taking 9 points of psychic damage as Albus just stares at this coalescing form of electricity, which starts to shiver in his migraine. During its next saving throw, it's going to roll a d4 and subtract it from it.
Okay.
Wait, this is 3d6.
What did you roll before?
Oh, wait, never mind. That was 2d6. Okay. Sorry. I'm
That's
reading
okay.
my spells for like the first time in forever.
Cantrips also are weird.
I need
'cause
to
they
make-
level up.
I need it to make another intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
As I use my bonus action
This one it got a 13.
and subtract a d4.
Okay.
It still fails.
It got a 4, so it rolled a total of 9 on its save.
Okay. Sorry, this was 5th level.
What is 5th level?
Oh, in the meantime, I rolled 30 damage, so it takes 15.
15. Got it.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. I promise I was trying to read my spells before this.
That's okay.
I was trying to use the spell Mind Thrust, and at higher levels it does more targets, not more damage.
Okay.
So
It still
yeah.
failed its save, so figure out what level all of that yaz. And all that jazz.
So it's going to be taking 10 more points of psychic damage,
Okay.
and it can use its action only to dash or disengage on its next turn.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. So, it is then the creature's turn. After Albus, you have gone. The crewmen at this point are busy just like clearing off debris from the actual deck of the ship in order to make things easier for you all to move around. And this creature, because it can no longer do anything except for move and dash, is going to just do a almost crisscross pattern through the mid-level of your ship. And it can't do any attacks while going through it, but because of its lightning form, whenever it moves through things, it ends up leaving some damage behind. So it's more, it's still able to deal some damage to your vessel at this point, but it isn't anything detrimental. And it ends actually on the aft castle, just floating near you, Hish, as you are on that ballista that had been you had used to shoot it with a fireball. And I believe
If it's not technically an attack, I can't use my reaction, right?
that is correct.
Okay.
And so the first time it enters a creature's space on a turn, that creature takes 2d8 lightning damage. So it is going to deal some damage towards you.
First of all, that's rude.
It is going to deal 12 points of lightning damage.
That's really rude.
Okay. That is it for its turn, Jill. This creature is hanging out on the aft castle of your ship. It has not touched down. It is like floating above. But looking at it now, it looks like this creature is... It isn't even that large, all things considered. It looks like there is just an area around it that is causing it to look larger than it actually is.
How far away is it?
From where you are, I would say it's about 30 feet or so.
Perfect. I think Jill at this point is going to like rip off her glove, the one that covers her hand with the mark of Tharsden, and just like hold it out. And as this like dark energy like forms, she'll cast Bane on it. And that's a charisma saving throw.
Well, turns out this burb is not very charismatic either and rolls a 7.
Okay, so anytime it makes an attack or saving throw until the spell ends, you gotta roll a d4 and subtract from attacks and saving throws.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
All right, sounds good. Hish. It is next to you. It is very large, and it is right up on you.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna bring out my scimitar. I'm gonna kick its ass. I'm not, because that's 9 plus 9, 18? Does 18 hit?
An 18 does hit. Roll for damage.
Yes. That's 8 plus 2d6 fire, 6, and 6 fire damage.
Okay. So 6 fire and how much else? Sorry.
Fuck. I think it was 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 8 regular damage. And I'm gonna hit it again. That does not. Was 18 the thing I was shooting for?
18 does hit. What number did you roll?
I rolled 16.
A 16 just hits.
Yes. Damn it, that's another 8.
Okay.
Plus 5 fire damage.
Sounds good. Albus.
I need to make. Well, it's still on the thing within 60 feet, right?
Yes.
Intelligence save, please.
Okay. So that is
-4.
a 15.
I mean, minus d4.
Yeah, I got a 1 on the d4. But yeah, I got a 15 total.
I like this. 7 points of psychic damage. I'm gonna use Quicken Spell. Wait. That's 2 sorcery points. Okay. How many days has it been since Lethlung?
I would say it's been about, I believe we said about like 5 days since Lethlung.
Okay, so it has been a couple of days.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't take a long rest, so my
That's
sorcery
okay.
points are messed up. I use Quicken Spell. Is everybody like all up in its face?
Hish is the only person who seems to be directly on it, and Hish, you are fighting against a creature of pure energy.
I'm gonna run past Hish, in between them.
Okay.
And I need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Sweet. When you get within, or no, yeah. So dex save. Sorry.
Well, I want to get as close as I can, not be consumed by electricity, and also not get Hish within a 30-foot cone.
13.
13. Subtract another d4 from the Mind Sliver.
10.
It already failed. I just like doing this.
Synergy, baby.
Kick him while it's down.
Sorry, this one was at 5th level. So y'all know Stranger Things? Y'all know 11?
I actually don't know Stranger Things, but I can.
Okay, well,
I
just
can
like sort of imagine like Albus like pushing Hish out of the way just like a little bit, then just sort of like levitating off of the air or off of the deck just like a couple of seconds, and then just fucking screaming. And this creature is gonna take. I don't have enough dice out here for this.
Oh, good. Now, see, for me, it's levitate off the ground, but then it's the shot in Beetlejuice where they ask him, like, how scary can he really be? And they never show what his face really looks like. It's just all the shit expands outward.
Okay, so that was 16,
Tentacles everywhere.
26, 27 points of psychic damage.
Oh my goodness.
Is pushed 20 feet directly away from me. And it's not prone, but I'm assuming this creature is immune to that.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just like this like shockwave that comes out from Albus, and it sort of bleeds a little bit.
Okay.
Or like a little bit of blood comes out of his eye. All three of them.
Icky. Alrighty, so this creature has been blasted back off of the aft castle, and it dips down a little bit, but then rights itself in its flight. And it is going to, with its 120 feet of movement, is actually going to rip through. It turns into a streak of lightning and then just rips directly through you and Hish. Albus, you being the target of the U.
Mm-hmm.
So you are both going to be taking 11 points of lightning damage as it races through, and then it is going to turn with its back towards you, Jill, and it is going to reach out with its claws and try and rake out against you, Hish. And it gets a modified 20 to hit.
I mean, yeah, that'll do it.
All right, sounds good. So that means you are going to be taking 26 points of lightning damage. Albus, I need you to make a dexterity save as the lightning that targets Hish then crackles and leaps off and then goes directly into you.
16.
Okay, so you are also going to be taking some damage off of this. You do not succeed on the save. So that is going to be for... for 34 points of lightning
Albus
damage.
is down. Albus is down.
Okay.
I don't have the tough feet anymore.
Fair. And then it is going to, because it has the flyby ability, it is then going to leave from where you are, Hish. And it is going to then fly and shoot through you as well, Jill. So, Jill, you are going to be taking 6 points of lightning damage.
I'm resistant to lightning damage.
So you only take 3.
Yeah, I think the mark glows as she gets hit, and as it kind of seems to almost like suck up a little bit of that energy.
Okay. So it then races back out, and now it is at the helm of the ship, and and it is looking like it is going to make another flyby on its next turn. Next up is Jill. You have just seen Albus get electrocuted as hell and dropped, and Hish seems to be taking the lightning damage like a champ. What would Jill like to do?
Yeah, so Hish and Albus were relatively close to each other, right?
Yes.
Like, okay.
They were within about 10 feet of each other.
I'm going to run in between them, and like extend both hands out towards both of them and use mass cure wounds, baby. So 3d8 plus 5 healing to y'all. Seems like as good as time as any to use that. Okay. Ooh, nice. 16 points of healing.
Nice.
Love me those Healy boys.
Hish. This creature, or Jill, did you have a bonus action you would like to do?
Nope.
Okay, sounds good. So, Hish, this creature is once again flying above the ship, and you know that there is a long wait on the recharge time for your actual fireball cannon.
Okay. Do I know how long that would be?
It will be at least a day.
Jesus! Damn it!
It takes quite a while to gain all of the energy necessary.
Yep.
Let's actually see.
Fuck. Well, I think first he grabs Albus by the back of his jacket and pulls him up, and tells him to like.
You grab a tentacle.
Fish barfs. Yeah, he grabs Hish and yanks him up by a tentacle, and I think he pushes him towards like the stairs down to below the deck, just to get him away and safe. Fuck. Can I shoot the ballista without the energy? Like without the fireball energy?
Do you have any ballista bolts ready and loaded? Because
I
otherwise you're just shooting a blank.
Right. But I have myself.
Would you like to try and load yourself into the ballista and then fire the ballista at the creature?
We
Well,
already got
ideally
one
I'd
person meeting Umberly right now.
Dingo, I swear to Christ.
My thought is if I get in the ballista and one of my crew members shoots the ballista.
Make a persuasion check with advantage because you're the captain.
Here's your degree from Clown University since you want to act up.
Okay, so 6. What's my persuasion?
With
5.
advantage?
Yeah. So that's 11 to persuade.
They are not willing to shoot you at a creature made of lightning.
Well, they're stupid, and I hate them.
You can berate your crewmen all you want, but they don't seem to want to do it.
Can I do it myself?
Make a sleight of hand check. Because you have to aim yourself.
Could it be a possibly perception if I'm aiming myself?
You also have to hit the firing mechanism. So unless you are willing to attack the ballista to release the firing mechanism with you still on it, you would need some way of like reaching back to do it.
I'll attack it.
Okay,
I can't use this thing for a day. Certainly a better odds than dexterity. 14?
So a 14 does hit the ballista. Roll for damage.
10 Rego damage. 9 fire damage.
Okay, you launch yourself towards this creature.
Wait, if I say I use my
Dingo.
regular scimitar, which I do have, can I not do the fire damage?
You wouldn't have enough damage to then break the firing mechanism.
Never mind. We're gonna set it on fire. That's fine.
Dingo.
So you rocket yourself towards this large electrical bird in the sky. Albus, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be part of my next turn as well,
Okay.
but I just want to have this thing ready and firing off. I cast Levitate on Hish.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
So specifically, I want to release it whenever Hish is within melee range of the Phoenix.
Okay. Sounds good. So Hish, you are rocketing through the air. You have one more attack that you would like to do. Make an attack roll whilst flying through the air with your flaming scimitar. Be the fan art you want to see in the world. Do this.
Like, y'all just see Albus like frantically pulling out his guitar and like making the like worst panic noise that he can. It's just like beep. And then Hish just like stops.
That's a 14, but I'm gonna action surge.
Okay.
I'm gonna try a different die because this one betrayed me.
I love this game.
That's a natural 20, baby.
Womp, 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 womp.
Let me just roll these die here really quick.
When I was prepping for today's game, I did not think that this is what would happen. But I am glad.
So that is 9 plus 10 plus 9 plus 3 plus 4.
9 plus 3 plus 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a total of 16. Okay. So, yeah, I will allow then, or it was 16 fire damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So then Albus...
It was 9 and 10, so it was 19 regular damage.
Got it. Okay. So Albus, you are using your turn to levitate on Hish. So Hish, you are just like floating in the air underneath Umberly's eyes, fighting against one of her prized creatures. This is ridiculous, and I love.
How far is Hish away?
At this point, Hish is about 90 feet away.
90 feet. Okay. And so is the Phoenix.
Yes.
Jill, take some Barty and Spee.
Thank you.
That has a range of 60 feet. Otherwise, Hish would get some. That's my turn.
Okay. Next up.
Well, actually, can I like get to the steery part of the ship?
Yeah, you can definitely get to the helm of the ship. Thankfully, the helm is located on the aft castle more often than not, so you are actually very close to it.
Cool.
Yes. So, this creature is then going to whip around and go through you, Hish. So you are going to be taking 12 points of lightning damage. And then it is going to then shoot over towards where you are, Albus, and you are, Jill. And it is going to pass through the two of you, so you are both going to be taking 9 points of lightning damage.
Halved for me.
Hish, you are still levitating.
Awesome.
Oh, let me roll my save. 10. I got a 10 on my con save.
It is no longer baned.
Boo.
And then it is going to, while it is here, it is going to try and strike out towards you, Jill. And that is a 23 to hit.
That'll do it.
Okay. So, Jill, you are going to be taking 21 points of lightning damage.
What is that halved?
That would be 10.
10.
And then Albus, make a dex save.
23.
Okay, so 23, you are...
My dice are okay tonight.
So it looks like if you succeed on this, you don't take half. It is just
Oh,
saved or
great.
nothing. So yeah, you...
Oh my gosh, great.
So as this second arc of lightning looks like it is racing towards you, you hear a thrumming noise coming from the ship's wheel. And Albus, you can feel that the eldritch charm that you have set beneath the steering wheel is actually causing that lightning to just divert and shoot off out towards the sea. This creature is then going to move itself, actually.
Can I use my reaction real quick?
Sure.
I'm just gonna attempt this to use shit, I always forget the name of it. Wrath of the Storm.
Okay.
And I'll try thunder damage. So make a dex saving throw.
Okay.
You merely adopted the lightning. I was born
15.
That's a fail. I don't know if this thing will take thunder damage, but if it does, it's 13.
Okay. So it looks like it does take thunder damage, but it is not the full brunt of it. It seems like this creature that is born of storms is okay taking thunder and lightning damage. It looks like its form is starting to flicker, and it doesn't seem like it has very much base energy left in it. But it is going to race down, turn away from where the two of you are and race down towards what looks like it would place itself near the hull of the ship, between the hull and the actual bilge area for it, and it is going to then rest there, seeming to have used most of its movement to zap most all of you. But it
like
is
in the ship?
No, it is not in the ship.
Okay.
It is on the outside of the ship resting. All right, next up, Jill.
Albus, how are you looking?
7.
Okay, you need some more of that sweet healing. I got you. Yeah, let's just go. Fuck it, we'll slap a 4th level cure wounds on you. I don't give a fuck. That is 11, 16, math, 19, 24 points of healing.
Ooh, that's so good. That's like over half of my hit points.
Yep. So she'll just run up to you and while you're at the wheel of the ship and, put her hand on your shoulder. And, yeah, that's gonna be my turn.
Okay. Next up, Hish. You are levitating in the air above the sea over your ship due to Albus's help, but I don't believe that levitate allows you to move front or back. It is just up and down.
Let me read the spell. The target can only move by pushing or pulling against a fixed object or surface within reach, which allows it to move as if it were climbing. I can change your altitude up to 20 feet, but that's it.
Okay, so how far am I from the bird?
You are at this point about 60 feet away from the burb.
Okay. How much rope do I have? Let's find out. It's 50 feet of
I would
rope.
let you, if you wanted to lasso the bird,
That's what I'm thinking.
I will let you lasso a creature made of pure electricity.
Yay.
Yeah. Fucking ha.
Yeehaw, y'all. I'm going to try and lasso this. What am I rolling to do that?
This would be because you don't have a prepared lasso, you have to quickly tie the ropes. That is going to be a sleight of hand check.
Oh, I hate that. I don't like it. Okay, that's a 13.
Okay, a 13. You feel like this lasso will work. Then I need you to make a ranged attack.
I don't have
as you try and yeehaw your way onto this burb.
What modifier do I use for a ranged
Dexterity.
attack? Fuck.
I sure love having an Achilles heel.
Shut up! Shut up! I know what I said. Damn it! It's a 7.
So your rope ends up going wide and actually falls onto the deck of the ship. It doesn't seem like it's attached to anything. It is just this large loose rope that you have thrown to the best of your ability.
All right. Well, that's fine. I'll try next time.
Okay. So then next up, unless, yeah, that would have been your full turn. So Albus.
How far is the rope from me?
The rope at this point would only be about 20, 25 feet away from you.
20, 25 feet away from me? Okay. I mage hand the rope. And I pull on it.
Okay. And so Hish, you begin making your way through the air back towards your party members.
And for my next trick, yeah, I've got 4th level spells. I'm gonna burn 2 more sorcery points to cast Dissonant Whispers. Let me double check that I'm using the right number of sorcery points. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I need a wisdom save.
This is the Bird of Wisdom. And it gets a total of 17.
That's just my save. So it's going to take half of this. So half of 66. $13 points of psychic damage.
Halved?
That is halved.
Okay. So, what are the final words that this creature hears, Albus?
So just before Albus saw the Eldritch Charm like sort of redirect some of the lightning. So I don't think you understand. The bitch queen has no power here.
Okay. So, as you say that, and this creature's form begins to flicker and shudder, you see the energy near it expand outward and then shrinks back in for a brief moment to what you can see is like almost a metallic looking egg about the size of an ostrich egg. And then that energy explodes back outward. Albus, Jill, and Hish, I need you all to make dexterity saves as this creature's crackling death ability triggers.
11.
17.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and use my bardic inspiration. Fuck it, why not? Oh, that's awesome. No, 19.
Jill, you succeed.
Oh, fuck.
Hish, you and Albus are going to be taking the full amount of this damage.
With a 17? I hate that.
This is a burb. That is for sure.
Listen, if I die in the air, at least I'm levitating, so I
You're
won't
going to be
fall in
taking
the-
37 points of lightning damage.
Oh, that is-
Hish, you're no longer floating.
Fuck! That's okay. I have a cloak of the manta ray, right? I think. I do.
Okay, so Kylan, you are going to be taking half of 37, so that is 19 points of electric damage, and then half again, which would put you at 9.
Hell yeah, baby. I was born for this fight.
You have no power here.
Are you down again?
Yes. I got one shot by this bird twice.
And as this metallic egg sinks into the ocean from where you have destroyed the creature, you realize something. Where it had placed itself before you ended up dealing its last words. Where it was directly next to the ship, against the hull, and against the bilge. As it explodes, there is wreckage that has now occurred on the underside of your naval vessel, and the bilge is beginning to take on water. The crew members are beginning to rush down underneath to try and create some sort of barrier and toss as much water as they possibly can, but it seems like Oliver's Triumph is beginning to list to one side as more water is taken on. As it begins to list, Hish, I need you to make a perception check.
Is this as I'm falling through the air?
As you are falling through the air onto the hull of your boat, of your vessel.
That is a 19 plus 7. So 26.
You see that there is a figure that doesn't look like they are currently conscious, that is falling towards the that is being held up with a single arm by a young tiefling boy who is trying his best to make sure that his mother does not fall overboard during the explosion of this ship. Talia seems to be unconscious, and he does not seem strong enough to actually hold on. You can see that Ollie is crying. What would you do?
Fuck. Okay, so I'm falling through the air. Ollie is
Ollie,
where?
You placed him underneath the ship.
Yep.
You have
Sure
placed
did.
him in the hull. You are now landing on the deck of the ship.
Okay, so I've just landed.
You have just landed onto the deck of the ship, but you can see that there is a break on the side of your vessel.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna vault over the side, and try and catch Talia and myself.
I need you to make a dexterity save.
Could it be a strength one? Could it be athletics?
Because you're trying to go over the side with finesse and grab somebody and also swing to safety, that will be dexterity.
Okay. How can we make this athletics? Because I'm real scared. What would
For it to be athletics,
I
You
have
would-
to like run?
and jump
Down.
over the side, you would either have to jump over the side of the ship and grab her as she gets into the water.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna jump over the side and grab her and fall into the water.
Okay. Make an athletics check.
God help me. Okay, that is a 7, but I have a +9. So that's what, 16? Yes.
Okay. So, with a 16, it looks like Ollie's hands slip. He's not strong enough to actually hold on to Talia. And Talia falls into the ocean with a splashing noise. And you dive overboard, as just as your friend Ulman also had. And you manage to dive in and you grab a hold of Talia, but you see something underwater that you hadn't necessarily seen before, which is that it looks like there is a rope that has tied itself around her leg, which Jill, in Jill's memories, this is something that she remembers having happened to her. It looks like there is some force that is trying to pull her down. What would you like to do?
I would like to cut the rope.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Is a 16 plus 9.
Oh, for fucking sure that hits. You
Thank
managed
God.
to cut through the rope, and you, with your cloak of the manta ray, are able to grab Talia under one arm and swim upward towards the surface. As you are doing this, your ship is still taking on water. It is still listing. Jill and Albus, what are the two of you doing?
Making death saves, apparently.
Jill, what are you doing then?
Two-part plan. First part of the plan is go and we're gonna slap a little baby cure wounds into Albus. We're just gonna do the little one right now.
That's cool.
You can get the big one later.
I can take the big sleep later.
That's gonna be 9 points of healing.
That's perfectly fine.
And Jill is gonna be like, Jill's gonna run down towards the hole.
Okay.
And what does she see whenever she comes into the room where the ship has been blasted?
There is a small crying tiefling child who wasn't able to hold on to his mother as she fell off to the side. You see that there are some crew members who are looking at the hole in the side of the ship, and they are then making their way into the bilge to try and create some sort of blockage to prevent the taking on of water.
Yeah, I'm gonna run down to the bilge.
Okay. And then what is your plan now that you are in the bilge? And you can see that there are about 5 crewmen who are busy just throwing water back out of the hole as quickly as they can, while others are attempting to nail boards down to create a sort of seal.
Yeah, I think she's gonna like hold her hands out, close her eyes, and just like exhale. Just be like, might want to move for this one. And is gonna cast control water. And let's see, what level is that at? That's 4th level. And is going to use redirect flow.
Nice.
To let's see, control any freestanding water inside an area you choose that is a cube up to 100 feet on a side. And redirect flow does cause water to move in a direction I choose, even if the water has to flow over obstacles, up walls, or in other unlikely directions. Water in the area moves as I direct it, but once it moves beyond the spell's area, it resumes flow based on terrain conditions, and it continues to move in the direction I choose until the spell ends or I choose something different.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to yeet that water out like a jacuzzi jet.
All right. It is your magical ability to do so. So, excellent. Albus, you've been healed. You are on the deck of the ship next to the steering wheel. Hish or Jill has brought you back from yet another blackout state that you don't remember entering into, but you did remember a large flash, and then now you are waking up on the floor.
I'm going to... I can't see Hish, so I'm going to burn ascending. Hish, where are you?
Yeah, I think he just in his panic just says overboard.
Albus jumps over.
Okay, so Albus, you jump over, and Hish, while you are under the water with your helm that is created because of the cloak of the manta ray. You see Albus dive into the water, and the two of you are able to make eye contact and at least reconvene. Talia does not look well. She's still under the water, and you are currently in the process of taking her back up to the surface. Jill, while you are in the process of moving this water from the hull of the from the bilge of the ship back out into the ocean and preventing it from actually coming in through this break in the side of the bilge, you see a familiar blonde-headed form actually swim through the water and turn, and you watch as Ulman uses his slime boy abilities to just begin to create boards that he is just throwing across the hull of the ship, and he knows that they won't last for very long, but at least it will give you some time to figure out what to do next. And that is where we are going to go into our break for the evening. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who has decided to stick with us so far. We are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes. So don't go no place unless it is to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice. And we will see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. Join us yet? Well, poo. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I hit the wrong buttons, and I guess that we're just live now. Hello. You can hear me, but you can't hear my friends, I think.
Cool.
Now they can hear you, because I hit the right buttons. Whoops. I didn't set things right, but we're back. Hello, everybody. Reeves should be joining us within the next like 10-15 minutes or so. So we can finally find out what happened to our dear friend Ulman when he jumped overboard at the start of this whole situation. But there is currently a pressing matter, which is Hish, you, Talia, and Albus are currently all on the outside of Oliver's Triumph, where there has been significant damage to the actual body of the vessel. Upon arriving back to the surface, one of your crew members is actually going to throw down a rope ladder to you to allow you to actually climb back up. And thankfully, you are such a strong boy that climbing up this rope ladder while like holding on to Talia is really no issue. Upon reaching the deck of the ship, make a medicine check.
Okay.
As it seems like being underwater and unconscious is bad.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Jesus. That's a 2 + 3, 5.
Okay, so yes, Albus.
Can I have been assisting by shape wateringing water out the lungs?
Yes. I will say if you have the shape water spell that this is simple enough, Albus, for you to do. You've done this on quite a few sailors before who have gotten overzealous in their fishing. And together you and Hish are able to clear the water out of Talia's lungs, and she just begins to cough and sputter back to consciousness, and she is barely able to open her eyes. It seems like she was very close to succumbing to a sea goddess's wrath, and just barely opens her eyes and sees both you, Hish, and Albus staring down at her, and you aren't sure which one of you she directs this comment towards, but she says, "Maybe I was wrong about you."
I'll give you 2 moments.
And she
Yeah.
just like, you can see that like her eyes are very heavy. She's breathing. She's alive,
Yeah.
but she is in need of sleepies at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I think Hish, he's already sort of crouched next to her, and he scoops her up, and he says, "Okay, no more talking," and he's gonna take her into the captain's quarters, and oh my god, and lay her down on the bed
Okay,
and tuck her in.
sounds good. All right, so you manage to lay her down and tuck her into bed, and at this point, one of the crew members, you hear the door open, and it is Ollie racing in, and he just has tears in his eyes. And one of the other crew members lets you know that he was looking for you throughout all of this. And so crew member had seen you dive overboard, but had also been part of the regain Hish from the sea party, and luckily was able to direct this sad child. And Bims is just being squeezed ever so hard, but you see like they have brought their small draconic claws up onto Ollie's shoulder and are just like pushing the flat part of their pseudo dragon head against his chin, as there are just tears that are streaming down his red cheeks.
Oh, Angel, yeah, Hish. Hish immediately turns, and he's sort of crouched next to the bed, and he's just open arms, like pulling Ollie very close to him, and holding him tight against him. He says, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here. You're all right. Mom's all right. It's okay."
And
yeah, I don't think he lets go of him.
No, Ollie is... He is a blubbering child. No child, like, all children are ugly criers. It is known. Ollie is no exception to this, and he feels so terrible about having let go. And you can hear, and like, he is just making this all, as children do, he is blaming himself for a lot of what happened.
Yeah, I think Hish pulls away a little bit, and he's sort of brushing the tears away and brushing Ollie's hair out of his face. And he's saying, hey, buddy, no, it's all right. You did your best. You did good. You did good today, bud. I'm really, really proud of you. And mom's okay. You did great.
And Ollie is just... You can tell that crying has exhausted the boy. Like, his shoulders are shaking a little bit, but he is just letting it all out.
Yeah, he picks him up too, and I think he gets on the other side of the bed and sort of puts Ollie between him and Talia, and I think Hish is just sitting on the sitting with his back against the headboard and sort of cradling Ollie and just kissing the top of his head and sort of stroking the top of his head.
Okay.
I think he knows there's something wrong with the ship, but I think he's trusting his crew to handle it.
Which brings us to our first mate. Jill, how long does shape water last? Or not shape water, but the control water.
Control water.
Yeah.
If I don't lose concentration, up to 10 minutes.
All right. What level spell is this?
4th level.
Okay. You know that in order to get a good, at least like a good standing on it, you would probably end up having to cast this spell twice.
Okay. Yeah, I have one more spell slot for 4th level. That works.
All right, and as other of the crew members are bringing down boards and other things, thankfully, as the first mate, that was some very quick thinking. Your crew members' respect increased. this very day, and together they are all working towards patching up the this immediate hole that has appeared in the bilge. And after about 20 minutes or so, they are able to at least create a fix well enough that they can then work on it later. And Ulman, who had come in through this hole, you can see you have never really seen Ulman with a stormy expression before. He is usually the first to put on a big smile, and the first to try and make everyone else feel like things are okay and that things are fine. But this is one of the few circumstances that you have ever seen him look truly upset. And he doesn't say much about anything. He just more seems to focus rightly on fixing the ship. And it is after this hole has been fixed that he has this stormed expression, and then turn towards you, Jill, and he locks eyes with you, and he looks away, like down to his left a little bit, and then you can see he shakes his head and he takes a deep breath and puffs out his chest, and he says, well, I think the crew could probably use a good meal after all this. I'll see to it.
I think Jill is going to like walk over to him slowly, still I think feeling like a little weak in the knees, because concentrating on a spell for 20 minutes, I imagine, is exhausting in some way. And I think she's just gonna stand in front of Ulman and then just like wrap her arms around him and bring him in for a hug.
And I think Ulman, there is a moment of surprise. I don't think that Ulman necessarily pegged you as a hugger. That was not one of the things that he gathered using his obviator skills. But he does. I feel like Ulman would embrace back. And there is you can feel him shudder a little bit, and it's not because of the cold. Due to him having jumped overboard and been completely soaked by ocean. But it is more of he is doing his heckin' best to hold himself together in front of his friends.
She'll say, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
And Ulman says, "It will be. But right now we need to tend to the ship. As the first mate," and he looks at you and says, "should at least take stock of what happened here. Did you all fought it, didn't you?"
Can I see, because I have been in Umberly service before, I'm wondering if there's like retroactively, if I could like just think back on what we fought and see if I can figure out what the heck it was.
I would say either make a religion or a history check.
I'm gonna say, let's do religion. 12.
With a 12, you know that Umberly, as a goddess of the sea, is able to harness the sea's elements. As a former cleric, you have harnessed the powers of electricity, the powers of thunder. These are still things that through Tharsden you are able to do. This creature was, now that it has been rendered inert, effectively an elemental creature that is made of pure electricity. That seems to come from the tumultuous nature of the sea. And since it came from the sea, Umberlee is able to cause things like this to happen almost at her whim in order to best distribute her servitude. So you know not necessarily this creature's name, but you know that this is something that she's capable of doing.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
very
so
rarely during your religious practice had you ever heard of her utilizing creatures like this, except on those that have earned her ire.
yeah, so she'll say it's yes, it was made from Umberlee's rage herself. And everywhere it moved, it caused more damage to the ship. It was then the Albus took it out. It exploded.
And Ulman, he, like, you can see that there is a look of consternation on his face, and he just shakes his head again and tries to put on the same winning smile that you have always known him to have. And he says, well, we won, and that's the part that matters most. We're all still here. We're all still alive. We are all still alive. Right?
I
Is
haven't
Albus
checked.
okay?
I mean, the last I saw Albus, he was fine. I just revived him. Hish was, oh my god, Hish. And I think she's gonna start running up.
Okay, and Ulman will follow you in quick step. Albus, you dove over the side of the ship to help out Hish and helped save Talia. And then as soon as Talia, you saw, was breathing and conscious again, you removed yourself from the two of them, and you saw Hish take Talia into the captain's quarters. You then saw a bawling tiefling child be led up by a crew member into the captain's quarters. And it seems like even the crew member, like, they also would have the same, like, no, but, like, it's my captain's kid, I kind of have to do this. And after, like, door is closed, you see that their focus is immediately drawn to then going down back into the hull and fixing the ship. But Albus, as you look around, the dark clouds overhead are beginning to part to give way towards an early night sky. There is wreckage from the mast, which was one of the first things that this large creature had actually seemed to attack on its way in. And you are, in a way, glad that you had set anchor here rather than had gone forward into the storm, because if you had not stopped moving and Hish had jumped overboard, trying to get Hish and Talia and Ulman back on board would have proven very difficult indeed. So what is Albus doing during this time while you are standing on the deck of the ship? And you see that the wheel is undamaged. The wheel seems fine.
Looking out at everything, like, does he notice that anything else is, like, off, if Umberlee is still around or any part of her presence is?
It seems like, as far as her presence, when you're out on the open ocean, it's very difficult to not feel like she is somewhere. around this place. But you feel like being directly involved with your ship that she is not.
Okay.
Looking up, you can see that the clouds that she had used as a means of carrying a message are also dissipating. And it seems like her overall presence from this locale is dissipating.
Okay. If that's the case, then he's just like going to go make sure that like if we have a replacement mast or replacement sail or anything that's getting put up, that like the repairs that need to happen downstairs, that's also happening. He's just like doing his best to that he can to like refocus everybody, like either reaching out with bardic inspiration or calm emotions or anything, but just like to get everybody on like a good like mental state in order to get us like safe.
Okay. I would say make a...
It's be charisma, right?
Yeah, this would be charisma. I'm trying to think of the applicable skill. Would this be...
This should definitely be persuasion.
Okay, I was going to say either persuasion or performance. Either way.
It should definitely be persuasion.
Persuasion's good then.
Natural 1.
Okay. So not a lot of your not a lot of your crewmen have been briefed on your overall situation.
That's a 10 overall.
Yes. So they're doing what they can to fix up the ship, but because they know that you are not the captain and you are not the first mate, even though you are trying to get them to maintain a level of calm, it is more of a situation where they feel like they are already doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it comes off as more of a middle management of like, keep up the good work. And they're like, we almost died. We are doing the best that we can.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely wouldn't try to like talk to anybody. But just like whenever he's around, people feel calm, and that might make them feel really weird.
They don't like the fact
really
that
off-put.
Yeah, this is not a situation for calm. But you're just like, no, it's fine. It's fine. We're cool. And they're like, everything is not fine. And I would say that Jill, you end up encountering Albus while he is in the process of trying to calm down one of your crewmen.
Albus, where's Hish?
I direct Jill to Hish.
Hish is in the captain's quarters. And Jill, when you get to the edge of the captain's quarters, when you get to the door, you can hear a crying child on the inside who is just sobbing. And you have a high enough perception that I would say that you can hear Hish just saying, "It's okay. It's okay. Mom's fine. Dad's fine. It's going to be okay."
Okay, I think because she hears that, she'll like kind of like, not barge in, but like more so knock.
Okay. And Hish, you hear a knocking on the door, and when you go to check on it, it is Jill who is standing before you.
Yeah, I think he's kind of standing in the doorway. And he says, Is everyone okay? How's the ship?
The hull is there's been enough repairs done on it to where the ship's no longer taking on water. It will take some time to make some more manageable repairs, permanent repairs before we set sail. Again, I haven't been up on the deck yet. The rest of the crew seems to be fine. Are you and yours all right?
We will be. Thank you for taking care of everything.
Of course, there's still more work to be done yet.
I think he takes your hand and he squeezes it. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Ulman's back on the ship, too.
Good. Hish looks back over his shoulder at the very exhausted Ollie. Does he seem like he's sort of
Ollie is like barely awake at this point. It is he cried himself into a nap.
Yeah, been there, buddy. He looks back at you, Jill, and he says, take a breather. I'll come back out and see what we can do. We need to find the closest town. I can't think of what that would be at the moment. I don't want to go back to Lethlon, but we need to find somewhere to...
I'll go check what maps we have. I was gonna head up to the deck anyway, so you stay with your family. I'll look after things.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Yeah, he pulls you just immediately into a big hug and he says, thank you so much.
She doesn't say anything, but she reciprocates.
And he'll step back and he'll go back to the bed and climb in next to Ollie and just... Yeah, I think he's pretty tired too, and he just sort of hunkers down.
Okay. Sounds good. So, Jill, for your point of perspective, the captain's quarters is actually on the deck of the ship. So when you had gone to visit Hish, you had come out of the stairwell and could immediately communicate with Hish. But like as far as getting a general view of things, it has been you haven't had time to actually like get stock of everything that has unfolded. You see that the ballista that is located on your ship is heavily damaged and in need of serious repair. It seems like Hish's attempt to launch themselves at this electric bird, while successful, did leave a little bit of damage behind. And you know that your ballista is currently inoperable. The mainsail, one of the large bows that kind of keeps it up, has snapped and actually had dug itself into the deck of the ship, and it broke through the deck into the hull, and is going to take some serious repairs to actually get that taken care of. You can see that there are tearings and breaks along the actual sail itself, but it still looks operable. Even with this snapped bow, it seems like if you got the right wind, you would still be able to continue from point A to point B. It will just take you a little bit longer because you know that, well, there's been damage that has occurred. And as you look across the deck of the ship, and take stock of everything, you notice that the wheel of the ship is immaculate. It seems like there was no damage that befell the actual steering mechanisms here, and a lot of the more fine mechanisms also have avoided any kind of structural damage that might prevent your ship from sailing past the initial breaks on the hull itself. As you look up towards the sky, the dark clouds that had kind of rolled in for this storm seem to be dissipating, giving way to an early evening sky. And it looks like there is a calm that is actually taking place here.
I think she's going to kind of go behind the wheel of the ship and just kind of like sit down and breathe. And as she's kind of like looking over all the damage, I think she's gonna go into her bag and pull out her journal.
Okay.
I gotta flip it open.
All right. The same conversation that you had previously is still there, but there does not seem to be any new writings.
And she'll start to write.
And what does Jill write this day?
She writes, "Ship is a living, breathing creature. Although the wood appears dead, there is life in it yet. And though it may appear broken and damaged beyond repair, where there is destruction, creation can occur, and it can heal itself."
Make a religion check.
We wilded out, homies! Oh, boy. That is a 20 flat.
The response that you receive is, "This is soon within my power. Just one more, Jill. One more chain, and this I can do."
I think she's gonna like look up at the sky and kind of like laugh to herself. Be like, "This is for you, Umberly," and start writing. What do I know about the Isles of Evermeet?
You know that the Isles of Evermeet are it is a very small cluster of island communities. And throughout it, there are creatures such as turtles, which you have not necessarily met yourself, but have heard of. They are these kind of sentient turtle folk. Other things that are within the Isle of Evermeet is that is the elves made a home for themselves there during the events that played out. Well, not during the events of the Sundering, because that's my homebrew world versus Forgotten Realms lore. Sorry. But the elves basically wanted a place to call their own, so they formed the lands from the actual, from the sea themselves to reclaim it as their own.
Okay.
But as far as population density, where this crux is located, you aren't necessarily sure.
Okay. I think she'll write, "Can you show me what it looks like? Or can you tell
And
me more?"
you hear, make a persuasion check.
16.
Okay. You hear the sound of etching coming from the next page over. And when you turn the page, you can see that there is a incredibly well-drawn picture of this monolith that looks like it is in the middle of a city square. You can see that it stands imposingly at the center of what look to be a lot of like buildings and shops, and you can see that there is like a nice incline where other very well decorated, well structured buildings rest. The boy!
Yay!
Thank God you're here. Kylan's wilding out.
I've been listening this whole time. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think she's going to write something along the lines of and as the obelisk disappeared from the city, in its place was left a boon of protection, of safe travels, of calm seas, to never be ravaged by that bitch again. And she writes that in very heavily.
Excellent. And as you do, there is a sense of response that comes from the ship that you are currently on, and you can feel the energy pulsating out from underneath the steering column, and you hear the sound of etching once more from inside of your journal. And as you turn the page, there is a moment where you see where this crux would have been. But in its place stands a eldritch monolith of non-Euclidean design that seems to just spur up from the ground itself. It looks like the area around where this crux has been formed is beginning to almost decay, like the life force around this location is being siphoned in to fuel this large structure that has then been replaced by the crux. And Jill, you hear the sound of a breaking chain within your consciousness, and you feel a sense of calm. And as you do, you close your eyes and you breathe in, and you can feel a sea breeze pass by you. And you hear the turning of your wheel that is in front of you. And you can hear the wheel turn in front of you, and see it turning, but the ship stays in one place. And as this wheel turns, you are put into shade for a brief moment, and then it parts, and then shade again, and it parts, and you look up above you, and it looks like the vast range of clouds that had once blocked out the sun and the night sky above you are turning into this large spiral that seems to stretch from one end of the horizon to the next, with your ship at the very center of where these clouds are turning. And that is what Jill has done to help with the ship. But there's a little bit that we need to do, so we're going to rewind time just for a hot minute, because at the start of all of this, before any damage had been done to the ship, Ulman, you made a rash decision to call out to the set of seafoam green eyes in the sky and said, all right, we are going to talk about this. And you jumped overboard. And as your body hit into the water, you felt your consciousness, you felt your body almost begin to dissolve, but not in the sense of it leaving, but more in the fact that in the same way as Ham had gone swimming before, A slime's body is a saline-based creature. It's mostly salt and water. So jumping into the ocean, you kind of feel your form dissipate to the point where you aren't sure that there is this corporeal form still left of you, and you felt your consciousness being pulled away. And you found yourself being washed up on the shore. But it is a familiar shore. This is not a shore of any beach that you have ever traveled on outside of your dreams. And standing in front of you is a woman wearing violent blues and greens. Before, when you had seen this figure, their appearance had seemed almost softer, like there wasn't an edge or a chip on their shoulder. But looking at Umberly now, there is, you realize that this is the wrath of the sea. What you had seen before was the calm. And she looks towards you and sets the butt end of her trident down into the sands near you. And she says, "An hour. One of your hours that you wasted. And for what? I asked for simple things. Tell me the goings on. And instead, you do nothing."
Ulman stands up assuredly and brushes the sand off of his pants and looks at her with a storm in his eyes to almost envy hers. And says, "Where were you when I called? When I was being stripped down, cut away piece by piece, bearing your mark."
And she looks at you and doesn't, when she speaks, her teeth remain clenched. And she says, "I was leaving you to see just how strong you really were. I know that you have been speaking, or at least your form has been has been communicating with the Chained One."
"Not by any will of mine. I wish he would leave me alone."
"And what have you done to prevent it?"
"Well, I'm trying to teach Ham what morals are and how some people don't want the best for you, and, trying to help Jill get out from under his thumb. But these things are difficult because
And
apparently
if Jill
when
was
the gods
out,
look at you, they never look away, and I have never earned the eye of any god who seems to want anything good for me, so I'm kind of upset with them at the moment. And this hasn't
wanted
helped.
the best for you, Ulman Dark.
Did you just want to use me to your own ends?
To use you, of all people, for my own ends? What would those be? I already have what I want. You presented an option. You presented a means of getting people to like me. And what did that get me? Absolutely nothing.
I'm trying. People don't change their mind that quickly.
They do when their ship's going down. They do as soon as they see a storm cloud roll in. People's minds change quite easily given the proper motivation.
Well, I can't do that. And that's not the message I'm trying to preach anyway. The one we came to an agreement on. We never signed any pact. I asked you that specifically. I don't even bear your mark anymore, Umberly. I want to be your friend, but this is not friendship. Coming at me like this. You could have talked to me at any point.
Ulman, I'm going
sorry.
to ask you something very, very poignant. You consider me a friend, or did, at least at one point, and yet you still communicate with Jilfa'en. Do you know what Jilfa'en has been up to? She has been wrecking the countryside for her own vile purposes. Are you still remain friends with that horrid creature that you know as Albus?
A creature who's treated me with much more humanity than you ever have.
Isn't
and
that
who has
something?
Changed for the better.
Isn't that something that you just said yourself, Ulman? That people don't often do things unless it is to meet their own ends? You say that Albus has shown you humanity, that he has shown you gratitude, and you believe him.
I could say the same thing about when you come running into my arms. Your friends are planning on killing me. Is that not the same thing? I'm trying my best to prevent that. I never stopped doing that. I'm still with Jill because, A, they're my friend, and I will not abandon them when they're in a dark situation, and B, because if I left, who else would intercede? Nobody.
And so that's why you stay. To watch your friends slowly lose control of who they are and become shells.
No, I stay to prevent that.
And yet you're here. Do you know what's happening with them right now?
I'm sure they're
Their ship.
facing something from you, but they will wear it through.
Soon
They are
their
strong.
ship will lie at the bottom of the ocean, and I will hear their calls, and I will relish in the fact that I will do to them what you have
You're
done
wrong.
to me. Oh, am I?
Yes. Because they're
And-
stronger than that.
And she motions out to the ocean from what you can see. And it separates. And as the waves part, you see a mass graveyard of ships, of vessels older than you have any recollection of ever seeing, that stretches as far as your eyes can go. And she says, once they drown, they will join in the nameless choir that all called out to me in their moments of death.
That's empirically untrue. There's at least 2 of them who will go to very different places. Jill will not go there with her whole deal, and Albus will just go back to the plane of water. Hish will be the only one you take, and really that's kind of rude because he's the only one who has nothing to do with this and is just trying to find a nice place to live with his son, and he really stuck his neck out for me and saved my daughter, and that got us all kicked out of Saltmarsh.
Ulman, I wasn't just meaning your friends. As you said, Hish's child is aboard. There are other crewmen upon your vessel as well.
And sparing their life would be a great showing of how much you have changed yourself, and I would leave with so much more confidence in your efforts. But right now, I have none.
You are but a barnacle, a useless growing pain on the side of my perfect vessel.
No. I am a tool. And a goddamn handy one at that.
And at that, she smirks and says, "You wanted my marking. Then you
No.
shall have it."
Honestly.
And she rushes forward towards you. And before you are able to dodge out of the way, you feel 3 distinct points of pain enter into your abdomen as her trident enters into your gut. And she lifts you off of the ground and holds you in the air. And as she does, you hear the flapping of wings as what must be hundreds upon thousands of gulls all fly down towards you, and we lost KyleWithAnN. And they begin to pick you apart, bit by bit by bit. And as you are being picked apart, you hear a voice. You know, I could make this stop. I understand.
Fuck off.
I understand I might not be your perfect choice. But you're already friends with Jill. You just need to be okay with me talking to Ham sometimes. That's all
Can I
I'm
make-
asking.
A save to
You muted yourself, so I don't know what you're trying to save from.
I said, can I make a save to endure some pain and say something snarky?
You bet your bottom dollar you can.
What kind of save do you want me to roll?
This is obviously a wisdom save. This is all happening in your mind palace.
24.
You endure.
I smirk at Umberly and I say, this is no worse than being carved down. You're gonna have to do better. You wanted me stronger, and here I am.
Okay. And you hear what sounds like the rattling of chains as almost a laughing cadence. And you hear Umberly rage as you continue to defy her. And as you do so, you feel your form be eviscerated by these flying gulls. KyleWithAnN has once again disappeared after we regained them. And everything goes dark and everything goes quiet. And that laughing cadence of chains eventually subsides. And the voice says, yeah, stick it to her. And then you feel your body covered in water. And you can see that you are beneath Oliver's Triumph. Underneath the hull on one side of the vessel. Welcome back! For maybe now.
Oh.
So, you are underneath the vessel. you can see that there is a hole that has been formed in the bilge of the ship, and it looks like water is actually rushing in. And you see that Hish has dove into the water, grabbed hold of what you recognize to be Talia, and then you see Albus dive into the water, and the two of them are in the process of swimming towards the surface. And you know that a hole in the bilge is the worst place possible. And you can see that water was being taken in and is now somehow being propelled back out. And you know that this has to be the work of Jill. There is no other person, especially considering that you see Albus swimming right now, who could control the water as it was. Oh, Lionhead Gaming, thank you! Thank you for the host! And you swim towards this hole, and you find yourself in the bilge, and you, with a very quickly thinking, just immediately begin to use your powers to create, to begin at least putting some kind of boards over the hole that has been formed in the bilge. And that is where we are going to then go back towards our future events. Unless, Ulman, there was anything that you wanted to say to Albus or to Hish. Because Ulman, as you were going up through the layers of the ship, you were at least able to recognize the damage that has been done here. Not only was there the damage that was done in the bilge, there are multiple holes that looks like they have been blasted through on the side of the actual hold itself. And then up on the deck, you can see that your central mast has been broken and has tipped down and plunged the one of its ends into the deck of the ship. You can see that the ballista that you had on your vessel, that was given to you by Acquisitions Incorporated back when you were still under their employment, has been destroyed. It looks like it has been slashed via a scimitar, and even though there were some flames that had wreathed it momentarily, it seems like the crew member who had refused to fire you, Hish, was at least smart enough to douse the flames before they continued with the overall objective of maintaining the ship itself. And so, Ulman, you are at least from where I had navigated, you were going to begin making a kind of meal thing to at least bolster the spirits of the crew members who had survived and who have been putting in all of this work to maintain the integrity of your vessel.
Yeah, I think Ulman is in fact still just cooking, in fact, a really lavish meal, because he is very shaken and just wants to eat a bunch of carbs. He's making a bunch of potato dishes, including these things called French fries, which he found in his cookbook, and they are delicious.
Because it was the Liv Moss book, it was the nacho fries.
Nacho fries.
Not just for a limited time on this continent. God damn it, Kyle.
Nacho cheese fries. Thank you very much. But I think Ulman... You've said before that I can reach out to the other people who are close to me, my friends. Is like the radius the ship? Or is it sight, or
for like a telekinetic thing?
Just to say something.
I believe that was if they were in contact with you as a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I remember reaching out to someone mentally from the sword without them touching at one point, but can I try that?
Make a Arcana check.
Sure. That's gonna be a 5.
Right now, you are really your recipe book explaining how to make these French fries is elaborate. You aren't sure exactly how to get the right cutting technique down at this point. You are a little confused because they say steak fries next to it, but you aren't sure what this has to do with steak at all. They just seem to be kind of a wider cut fry, if anything. But you managed to begin cooking to kind of fill your mind of this. To kind of fill your mind of up from having to deal with the experience that you just went through. In the same way that you were dealt 10,000 cuts via gulls, you are doing 10,000 cuts to these potatoes because, God damn it, you are going to make the best meal that this almost wrecked ship has ever had. Make a perception check.
11.
Okay. Yeah, you don't really notice anything outside of the ordinary, other than it seems like the clouds have broken outside of the ship where you are located. Hish, you are still in the captain's quarters. You are laying down, getting ready to rest. Albus, where are you during all of this?
I was eventually going to be just up on the deck and just looking out the ocean.
Okay.
But if I notice some spiral clouds happening, I would want to talk to Jill.
So
But, yeah,
you hear Jill giggle and kind of laugh to herself. And that is almost directly before you witness that these clouds are beginning to change shape. And you can hear the steering wheel beginning to turn, but you know that your vessel isn't changing its course. Something is happening.
yeah. So my next thing is I would want to confront Jill, but I would rather wait until KyleWithAnN is here to defend herself.
To explain yourself, Jilfa'en Lyrandar. All right. So, as you are getting ready to confront Jill, and you can begin making your way towards her, as you are making your way, you hear a groaning. You hear a sound like it would be... Yeah? Welcome back? Maybe?
Maybe?
This
is the best one yet. It's because I was talking too much shit about Umberly. She decided to nerf me.
It's true. So, there was the self-contained laugh of Jill having righted the crux in the Evermeet, and followed up by the clouds beginning to spiral. And Albus is making his way towards Jill, who is sitting cross-legged in front of the steering wheel. Otherwise, what you missed was just Ulman making some food.
That's it? Just Ulman making some food?
For the most part, yes. We waited to describe what was happening with the ship until you got back.
Okay. What's going on?
Well, Albus, you hear Jill's giggle, and then you see the clouds forming, as well as the steering wheel beginning to spin wildly.
Yeah, I hear a groan.
Okay.
The groaning?
Yes. So you hear a groaning sound. That sounds like, at first, wood that is being sounds like wood almost getting bent, or when it swells with some kind of moisture. You are familiar with the sound that ships generally make. But there is something else that is happening with this ship, because that groaning sound seems like it is coming from somewhere deeper within within the actual belly of this ship. And you watch as the wood begins to undulate. And that is not something that wood should do at all. And you see that there are these long red vines that extend down from where the side mast had been broken down, that connect themselves towards the actual break on the side of where it had broken into the deck. And as these red cords kind of tie themselves in, you can see that they twist and turn into these kind of thicker, more almost like muscle textured ropes, for lack of a better word. And they begin to pull that bit of bow out of the deck and begin to reattach it to where it should be. The sails lose the texture of what you would expect some kind of regular sail to be, and take on an almost skin-like texture to it, where it definitely seems like it is just this large swath of leather. And you can see that the coloration of this wood is getting darker, and the boards themselves are almost merging together to form this one large hunk of wood. Ulman, while you are in the kitchen, the floor begins to shift. The kitchen that you are using seems to almost merge into the ground itself, and there is a smell that you are unaccustomed to in your kitchen. As it seems like this room, all of the instruments and utilities in it become one. Hish, as you are in your captain's quarters, you are almost to the point of sleep. You hear this kind of groaning that turns into more of like a terrestrial moan that seems to come from the belly of the ship itself. And you also notice that the walls, your desk, your bed, everything in here that isn't some sort of add-on like fabric or a blanket is all merging into one large piece that is of this very dark colored texture. As your feet hit the ground, it sounds like wood still, but there's a little bit of give to it that makes it almost feel like you are standing on the back of something.
Yeah, I think Hish, as he's getting up, like grabs his scimitar and he's gonna walk out onto the deck of the ship.
Albus.
Jill, in your mind, you hear, "What did you do?"
You are muted.
I'm fixing the ship.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Ulman turns off the stove and also seeks the source of this change.
Dirty 20.
Fuck.
So, Ulman, you open up the door to the kitchen after turning off the stove, which has gone from as a classic stove. It's not like dials or anything like that. It is just this fire that seems to be on the underside of this metal area. As you open it up and kind of douse the fire, you see that there is just this glowing mound of what almost looks like a boil or a wart or some other kind of growth that is just pulsating with this reddish orange glow.
You done to my kitchen.
And it is not just your kitchen, Ulman. The rest of the ship has taken on this texture. So, Albus, you just tried to use a magic on your deer cleric.
Right. So, as you're looking at Albus, he vanishes. And after a couple seconds go by, and Albus realizes that Jill was not banished along with him, he drops it and comes back. And just approaches.
You hear shouts and screams coming from the crewmen beneath the deck. And they are making their way onto the deck of the ship as well. And one of them is saying, Something's happening down there!
Explain what's going on now.
I'm trying to repair the ship.
How?
How do you think?
And what did it cost? Detect thoughts.
What does that do?
I whatever you're thinking of right now, Albus will know it. Since he's saying what did it cost, I'm assuming it would make sense to me that you would be thinking about what you did to fix the ship,
Sure, yeah.
including what you wrote.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think about the Eldritch thing?
I don't know, maybe?
I think you might recall its image, but not a name or anything else like that attached for it. Or it could also just be showing the monolith in the Isle of Evermeet, but not the after image.
What, based off of what you're thinking of, would Albus know about, would Jill be thinking about breaking the chain in spite of Umberly?
Yeah, there's a lot of anger there. Like there is like a big old FU to Umberly.
Why?
I'm helping.
You may have just driven all of those people to madness.
Yes.
You may be driving all of these people to madness.
I don't think you're in any position to judge me, Albus.
You're right.
And as you say, you're right. The Hish, as you have come out onto the deck, you see that Jill is standing at the aft castle. That Ulman has come out of the kitchen and is demanding what the fuck just happened. And you see for the first time that there is a palpable tension between Albus and Jill, who up until this point seemed like they were mostly on the same page with regards to Umberlee. And that is when your crewmen come up onto the deck, and they seem terrified. They don't know what's happening. They're saying that the ship is fixing itself, but in a way that they don't understand. And Hish, as you hear them, you look over and you realize that the part of the central mast that had broken down and penetrated into the deck of the ship isn't there. It's right where it needed to be, back at the central mast. And the sail that you see is this sickly dark leather, not the kind of linen that you would expect from or this like burlappy linen that you would expect from a sail. It's wrong. And as you look towards where the hole at the area where the bit of mast had speared through, you can see that the wreckage is slowly closing back on itself, and where you would expect to see shattered wood, you can see that there is a thin layer at the top, followed by what looks like a sickly yellow, almost like small circles that are just existing in this layer underneath. And you would think to yourself, that's fat, like off of some kind of living form. And underneath that, you can see that there is a layer of nerves, and then, or as well as muscle, and then beneath that, nerves. And it looks like they are slowly merging back in on itself. And that is when the members of the ship feel the ship roar. And as the ship shakes underneath you, as this roaring sound seems to emerge from the bow of the ship, the camera pans down, and you can see that on either side where the portholes were towards the bow open, with these two large, impossibly white eyes that have these dark circles that are just looking around in a variety of ways. And the front opening of where the hull and the bilge meet begins to tear apart as what looks like a massive jaw opens up to reveal a ship that would swallow the sea whole if it could.
So, I have detect thoughts up right now.
Yes.
If I were to no longer focus it on Jill, would I get the sense that the boat has sentient thoughts?
You would quite get that feeling that the boat that you are currently a part of has developed a form of sentience.
I'm going to jump in the water.
Okay.
And I will try to telepathically reach out to the ship using invasive thoughts.
Okay.
In the most concise form of language that Albus is capable of, he just wants to, like, what is your intention? Who are you? Hi, what's your name?
And it explains that its name is Triumph. And that is where we are going to go and call it for tonight's session. Yes?
Can it do one thing for me?
Sure.
Can it make a charisma saving throw?
This is the weirdest session of D&D that I have ever played. It gets a 21.
Okay. The monster is not charmed.
No. And it knows that something just tried to magic it. But
We'll deal with that next week.
we'll deal with that next week. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by and join us as we discover that ships have feelings too. So with that in mind, hey Dingo, where can we find you? What do you do?
You can find me on Twitter at WheresMyDingus. You can also find me in 14 to 19 minutes picking up some cookies that I ordered to cope with this entire session. What do I do? I'm in a couple of games right now. Thursdays I'm here. Every other Friday I am on Off the Table playing currently a D&D 5e homebrew game called Tales from Thersha. We're gonna go to a ball, and that sounds dope. And then Tuesdays you can find me back on Off the Table playing another nautical game, Alas for the Awful Sea.
Excellent.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Reeves. You can find me trying really hard not to think about our ship, especially the boilerplates under my pots and pans. You can also find me on Twitter, Reeves_bot, or also there on Twitch. On Sundays, I am streaming with some buddies. We just started a Terraria playthrough, so I'm excited for that. It's a game I love. I am currently working on some fun home designs, so I'm going to be architect this time around. I'm excited for that. Otherwise, you can find me here, having a great time.
Y'all. Hi, I'm Cyber. You can find me on Twitter at CyberWolf1201. I say that I shit post, but mostly I post pictures of my dog. I talk about whenever I go live on twitch.tv/CyberWolf1201, where where I play video games badly and talk about lore. We're playing through Castlevania right now, Lords of Shadows. Not the main series, not the Netflix series, but you know what? We could talk about lore and play, real bad. All the archives of that go to YouTube, youtube.com/cyberwolf1201. You can also find the podcast that KyleWithAnN I do called Let's Talk About It, where we get drunk, do parkour, and talk about RPG stuffs. There's some D&D Beyond homebrew tutorials and other stuff there, so check it out. For RPG stuff, I'm on the DM's Guild. I've got a Patreon. I'm here on Mondays, usually playing Arjan, the Dragonborn. I'm here on Thursdays playing an Eldritch Being who makes stupid decisions. Starting this Saturday, I'm going to be on Pro Restar's channel in a Tal'Dorei 5th edition game. So check that out. I will use some motherfucking chat. What? And I think that's it.
Hi, everyone. You can find me making colossal mistakes at KyleWithAnN on Twitter and Twitch. Twitch is the best place to find me if you want to see where I play video games, and Twitter is where I'll probably get a lot of hate tweets. But you can also see what projects I'm a part of. A lot of them have already been shouted out. Alas for the Awful Sea. Here, obviously. I'm going to be in the Tal'Dorei game with Connor. Let's talk about it. One thing you haven't heard about, Cape Lorelei. It's an Urban Shadows actual play podcast by Off the Table. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp. So yeah, hope everyone's having a having a great night.
I am having an impossibly good night. This has been incredible. Hello everybody. If you made it this far, you probably already know who I am, but if you don't, hey fella, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you liked some of the bullshit that happened this evening, consider tuning into any of the other shows. We also have all of those VODs go up at youtube.com/Indoor Adventures, and of course audio casts wherever audio casts are available for free. Right now we are going to be going into our Patreon supported after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community but also from each other. And boy howdy, do I feel like there are going to be a few questions directed about either, you know, the first half of combat of tonight's game, or about what the fuck just happened in the last 30 minutes. Just probably like a few questions, nothing more, nothing less. I'm sure it'll be fine. But it was actually because of these patrons that our show is self-sustaining now. So all of the monthly fees that I would generally incur unto myself have all been fixed and alleviated by all of you people who have joined the Patreon. We got like 3 people yesterday, 2 of which joined our Lich Please tier. So you have earned a small phylactery of my biddies. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week. All right, everybody. I need to hit the right buttons. Bye-bye.